I have here a book. This is from 2007. It says the establishment of the Dakota reserves in Manitoba. This is what Canada calls research. It's all Indian Affairs letters, Indian agents that wrote letters back and forth to Canada, and basically it says that these Dakota people, whichever letter it is, they came across from the United States. So this is what Canada calls research. I'm going to show you and Canada does that because they control everything. Every aspect of our lives is Indian. They control every aspect of it. When we want research done, and my uncle has been doing this for 50 years, this is what they ran into with the Canadian government all the time. We want research. We want to hire our own research. Oh no, you don't have to do that. We've got researchers. We'll do our research for you. That's the information we'll get. So we hired a fellow by the name of James Ritchie. He's from Scottish descent. And I never knew a lot about the Scottish history until I started talking to James. And there's a fellow by the name of William Wallace who made a movie about it. It's called Braveheart. Now this guy was trying to get solidarity for the sovereignty for his people. And they tortured him. And they hung his body parts on the different areas, the borders of English as a warning to anybody that if they ever tried that again. So when we talk about tragedies and things like this has been going on for years, but it's always somebody dominating over somebody else. And so our elders hired this gentleman to help us, and he has an affinity with the Dakota people, which I won't get into, but he has an obligation that he acquired from another Scottish fellow, and in their way of life, when somebody takes an oath to do something, they have to carry it out, or they get somebody to carry it out for them. So James was this fellow, and he was a newspaper reporter. So he's investigated by nature. So when Canada hires a researcher, the researcher does what Canada tells them to. When we hire a researcher, we hire a fellow that would question what the elder would say. He's not going to believe him just because the elder says, okay, he writes it down. He goes into the archives and he tries to find evidence. So the elders told him that the Dakota influence extended from the Northwest Territories, which is up here, all the way down to South Carolina, down here, down into the Mississippi. And in our language, there's certain words that people have used to name their town. One of them is Winona. When Winona properly translated, it's the firstborn daughter. And there's a town here in Santee, South Carolina, named Santee. Now, Santee, of course, is the Dakota word. It seems like a knife, right? So I did some little bit of research about this town, and that's what it is. It's from a Dakota word. So when our elders said that our territory extended from here to here, this is where we're from here, this area here. So we have a good relationship with the Dene people further north, and the Cree and the Soto people now. They also say that they have records from their elders that the Dakotas were way up into this part of the territory. And contrary to popular belief, we weren't at war with everybody. Prior to the Europeans coming, we were pretty much living in harmony. We never had any homeless people, no hungry people, everybody looked after everybody. And so that was the extent of the territory. And then next, when the British and the French came into this part of the territory here, to go back to the previous one, we were in and around the Great Lakes area. So the British made a treaty with the Dakota, and it started with the Hudson's Bay Charter in 1670. The Hudson's Bay Charter is basically all the waters that flowed into Hudson's Bay. So in this part of the territory, here to be dealing with the Crees and the Ojibways and the Iroquois and all the other tribes. Over here to be dealing with the Dene people, and then the Crees further north, and then down here, this is all Dakota territory. So they had to make an agreement with the Dakotas in order to have access to all the territory here. So that started in 1670. In 1753, there was what they call a 7 Years' War. I don't know if you're familiar with the province of Quebec, but Quebec used to be a French territory. And now it's a province within Canada, and they still to this day, they do not get along with the English. There are some people that want to break away from Canada and the French to become a sovereign state. So after that 7-year war was over, our treaty was with the British. And again, it's a military, economic, and trade alliance. We gave, prior to this war, the French controlled the St. Lawrence Seaway. So the only way the British could get back from this area here was through here. So they had to pay tax to the French. When they made a treaty with us, it was for economic and trade, and we gave them an alternate route down the Mississippi within that system. So after the 7-year war, the British controlled this part of the territory, and they didn't have to use this alternative route. So the next battle that took place was the Revolutionary War. The United States breaks away and is trying to create its own country. Now the British again call them the Dakotas, and because we have a military trade economic alliance, we go and we fight with the British. Now, this is a letter from March 27, 1780. It says, General Wabasha was well contented with his commission, and believe me, the warriors are nothing inferior to regular troops. And I know it says that because it's been transcribed into here. So your General Wabasha was well contented with his commission, believe me, the warriors are nothing inferior to regular troops in regards to this in their own way. So even though Wabasha was a Dakota, and this word here is not Wabasha, it's supposed to be Waskesha, but it's difficult for foreigners to repeat the name, so he changed the name to Wabasha. And first and principal characters down to the morning, John, the father, especially with the sunset. So this is an indication of the treaty that we had. The legal person that we had working with us at this time told us that if you can't find a copy of the treaty, find evidence of treaty behavior, right? So this is evidence of treaty behavior. Now, this year being 2012, it's also an anniversary for Canada. So what Canada did was they wanted to have a commemoration for all the Indians. I'll talk about that word, the Indians, later. What Canada wanted to do was they wanted to have a commemoration for all the Indians that helped the British during the War of 1812. Now, it is true that the British hired mercenaries. They hired different tribes to fight alongside with them. But what happened in a lot of cases was these tribes, because they're only fighting for money. When the fighting got too intense or it didn't look too good, they would bail out. And this is an example of one of them. So there's an export with some prisoners and some people, and they were attacked and they were killed. So it says here, a like disaster cannot happen next year. Convention to ensure your actions with 1,002, again, that's the Brigadier General, 1,002 warriors under it, without any mixture from neighboring tribes, will be in the field of April under Wabasha, class, and happens to us. The interpreter must be rogue, and the thorough honest man, both are perceived the necessity for profound secrecy, as well as the design and manner executing it. In order to avoid excited reports, curious and curiosity suspicion, we always expect to traverse such in the country. Everything was settled with Wabash out here and it wants for supply. So there's evidence of our treaty.